welcome to W Rated, the show where we willingly watch the world's worst rated movies. Today you've joined us on one of this year's Road to Razzies mini episodes. This is our annual season of episodes looking at the nomination for the controversial Golden Raspberry Awards 2025. For new listeners, I'm Daisy, and as always, I'm joined by podcast co-creator, host and editor Claire. Claire, would you like to tell us what film we're talking about this episode?
In this episode, we are talking about Reagan, which has been nominated for 6 awards, including Worst Picture, Worst Actor from Dennis Quaid, Worst Supporting Actor for Jon Voight, Worst Supporting Actress for Leslie Ann Down, Worst Screenplay, Howard Klausner, and Worst Screen Combo for Dennis Quaid and Penelope Ann Miller. Yeah. I'm going to be straight up and honest. I watched this film less than 24 hours ago. I came home quite drunk from Hejingo Bingo. I think I think we drank 5 to 6 bottles of prosecco. I devoured a lot of McDonald's on the train home, and then I got home, got into bed, put this on. And I think I slept through most of it.
I thought you were going to be like, and I was like, yeah.
No, I remember the first 10 minutes, and then I think I just checked out. And then I was waiting for my friend to come home, and I assumed he would be home, and then he got stuck in traffic, so he didn't get home till like 1 a.m. And I fell asleep for half of it, and then I woke up like 20 minutes towards the end. So I was never...
So you haven't actually seen this film?
Well, I was never asleep, but I was in bed with my eyes closed while it played next to me. And I don't really understand US politics, and I don't really know much about Ronald Reagan or Reaganism, but Reaganism apparently is back in fashion. This felt like right-wing propaganda. I didn't really understand what was happening. I didn't really understand what the conflict was. I didn't really understand...
What do you mean? The conflict was the Cold War, Claire.
But that didn't seem to come into it until quite near the end.
It's because it was a, what do they call it? A cradle to grave biopic.
Yeah, and that was too much.
Okay,
that was
I can't believe
too much.
I can't believe I'm gonna be being the one that is gonna be telling you what this is about when I'm really scared that I'm gonna get anything wrong. But
I was very drunk, and my body just protected me. My brain just went.
I have been doing some Googling, and I did watch a Reagan documentary afterwards.
Wow, good for you. Okay, so you're going to teach me.
I like to watch a documentary after based on a real person thing, so I know how much of it is bullshit.
Yeah,
especially with a Republican, and this is clearly being made by right-wing media houses. So
there's 2 things on that. I knew a lot of the actors in this from TV shows that I have loved in the past, and it made me really sad.
Not the shows.
Well, no, not even the people. But it made me really sad to realise, like, David Henry from Wizards of Waverly Place. I'm like, oh no, are you a right-wing dickhead?
Yeah, I think he's just a Christian.
Okay.
Which, is a path. It's a gateway drug.
Yeah. But there were, like, a few different people like that. That made me sad.
Sorry, not a gateway drug for being a dickhead.
A gateway drug to right-wingism.
Yes, there's a clear path for a lot of Christians into right-wing policies because of certain beliefs that they have. It doesn't mean everyone is. But...
And then it may have been how drunk I was. But I was really confused as to why the storytelling device for this film about an American president who fought the Russians in the Cold War was being told from the perspective of someone who I think was very involved in the Cold War, and I think I was meant to know who that man was by the name drop at the end. But also, I was like, are they trying to tell me that Reagan was a communist secretly? No. I was so confused.
This is going to be my favourite episode because I'm going to somehow have to somehow be the knowledge, even though I literally scraped it together.
But that's how drunk I was. I was like, was Reagan a communist?
Right.
And then I just went to sleep.
Okay, so You know when you were like, the Cold War thing seemed to come out of nowhere? Number one, he was most well known for de-escalating the Cold War. So it was always going to come in. Whether you expected it or not.
But why were the Russians telling me the story? Because they seemed really pro-Reagan, and surely the Russians didn't like Reagan.
Okay. She hasn't watched this film. Okay, so...
I was so tired. So drunk.
I actually think this is going to be our best episode because it's me coming at this from the very, very bare minimum of knowledge, explaining it to you.
Did you not realise that I was quite drunk by the many voice memos I started sending you?
I didn't think about the drunkenness. I just thought it was funny. So the framing device is the Russians. Because they are, and for better or worse, you can decide whether that was a good idea or not. So the Cold War was always there. It was the framing device.
Again.
Go on, what?
What was the importance of the weird green Russian book? Again, were they trying to say that he was a Russian sympathiser?
No, it wasn't a Russian book. It wasn't a Russian book. Right. Okay, framing device. The guy, John Voight, was basically second in. He was like, I'm pretty sure he's like chief of staff version. For whoever was leading the Soviet Union at the time. So he's been through all of these Soviet leaders, and he's talking to this young upstart who I don't think is meant to be anyone. I was really worried that it was Putin for a little while, but it is not. Because it's not, it wasn't, I thought it was set in the 80s, it's not. So he's basically come along and he's just like, hey, what's the deal with America? Like, what's our vibe there right now? And he's like, well, let me tell you about this once great American guy. And we hated Americans, but this guy, he was all right. And that was like the framing device. He's like, well, let me tell you about this guy from the very moment he was born to the very moment that he died. Again, not really sure if we needed to do that. The book is a book that he was given when he was a boy, Reagan, about about a boy that has an alcoholic father that becomes a pastor. Not pastor, pastor.
Like a priest.
Not a piece of penny. Like a priest. And that's significant because he had an alcoholic father and then he went into religion. I don't know how much of that is a plot device versus that is actually what happened.
Actor. When did he go into religion?
As in, like, he was religious, not he was...
Oh! I was like, I definitely missed that bit.
He got, like, he was baptised and everything.
Oh, okay.
He was baptised late because he wasn't baptised. So, again, a scene that you missed, he was baptised.
I was very confused about the time jumps as well, because at one point he was a child, then he was Dennis Quaid, then he was...
they jumped all over the place.
David Henry. Then he was back to Dennis Quaid, and I was like, I don't know who is who.
There's three Reagans. The boy... the 30-year-old man who's playing a 16-year-old, David Henry, who does still look very young. And I did fancy the pants off him when I was a teenager. And number 3, Dennis Quaid, who is 70 and is playing Reagan from the ages of like 30 to 80.
And that was my thing. I was like, why have you bothered casting David Henry then?
Right.
Like, for like 2 scenes.
Yeah.
Baffling.
I feel like this needs to just be a Q&A now. What's the next question?
So follows him from kid, then he is an actor, and then he's not a very good actor, and he's too political within the Screen Actors Guild.
It's not that he's not very good, it's just that he doesn't get very good parts. Like, apparently he did, like, 50 films, like,
yeah.
And it just never really, like, he was well known, but, like, he was more, there's a scene where his first wife is like, you're not a politician, you're an actor.
So I remember that scene, and then I think I fell asleep again, and I woke up, and he had a new wife, and I was like, what happened to her?
Yeah, well, to be fair, it wasn't that much longer in film time. You weren't asleep that long.
And that's why I basically kept just rolling over, being like, I'm not interested in this, and trying to go to sleep, and then being like, wait, no, I need to watch this, and it was a lot. So, like, it could be that I'd missed a scene, or it could be that I'd missed...
No, that's fair. Yeah,
I think it felt like the editing was psychotic, and I didn't know if it was because I was drunk or not. I was like, is this bad editing, or am I drunk?
It was a little... I'm very interested. I don't pay enough attention, but I am interested when I sit down in front of a film about politics. So I was following it, but I can understand someone who isn't engaged at the time could be like, wait, where are we now? Because it did for something that has a framing device of, well, I'm going to tell you about the whole life of this person, to then go, back and forward and back and forward, and then have like weirdly people on Twitter are going to kill me. Cast ages of like represented points in the life to then it was a little bit of a mess, to be fair.
And so then, it just felt like it was going on for ages, and he felt like he was an actor for ages, and then he finally was a politician for ages. But then,
he died.
But then the Cold War, because I was like, where is the conflict in this film? And then suddenly they're like, he stopped the Cold War, and it was like,
the Cold War was the opening credits. They literally showed a picture of Lenin and Stalin, I'm pretty sure. You missed that as well. The Cold War's always there, right?
But
the whole thing about
long time to get to the Cold
40s,
War.
You know, when they were talking about the communists in Hollywood,
and I kept thinking like it was trying to tell, but I felt like it was trying to tell me that he was pro-communism.
No, so
and I was like, I'm pretty sure Reagan was absolutely not pro-communism, so I'm really confused.
No, but here's where you're getting confused. So he used to be a Democrat.
Yeah.
And then he became a Republican because he felt like the Democrats weren't doing enough about communism. And the reason he felt like that is because he worked in Hollywood. And Hollywood was one of the main places that the Soviet Union tried to install communist sympathizers. Oh my God, I sound like I know what I'm talking about. And everyone's going to be like, you don't mean that. So just prefacing this is like, I have a baseline knowledge and have read into this in the last day. This is not my specialist subject. And so he then became, I think he was already, and the thing is, this is based on a film, right? This isn't necessarily fact. So in terms of timelines and things like that.
I have no faith that any of this was real.
In terms of timelines and things like that, I'm not sure, because they could be using it as literary device, but he was the president of the union and the Screen Actors Guild. And the reason that's important is because the Soviets were controlling the unions in Hollywood. Because if you think about it, it's very it's personal in terms of communism, in terms of unions, right? It's part of their ideology.
Yeah.
So I think because he saw it firsthand and he was very passionate about it, he eventually wanted to get into politics, and he moved from Democrat to Republican when he was governor and everything like that. So the Cold War was always there from like 30s, 40s. It's basically post World War II. Soviet Union was an ally with the US. But then after that, because of their spread into Europe, and it was like, it's not the communism is the reason they were bad, it's their authoritarian states. Authoritarian states, and they were spreading, obviously going into Eastern Europe and the Berlin Wall and everything. So the US were like, it's not coming over here, but they were trying to infiltrate on the other side and have communist sympathizers to infiltrate the US. So that was all happening into like 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s.
I just need to say to you, you're doing such a good job.
Thank you.
But currently my brain is me really, really fighting against the Homer Simpson tapping monkey symbol. I'm trying to push the monkey away, and I'm trying to concentrate.
You have to, because that's copyrighted by Disney. So, okay, so I'll try and keep it short and sweet. The reason the conflict came in when you felt like it did is because suddenly nuclear missiles were a thing.
Okay.
Oppenheimer, heard of him?
Yeah, I didn't like that film.
There was just because he was a person that made real consequences, right? He even had his picture in this. I was like, oh, I know what he looks like now. That's him. Yeah, so the reason it felt like all of a sudden the Cold War was a thing is because there was an actual physical, threat, like instant threat, and it was an arms race, essentially. The reason it sounded like the Soviets liked Reagan is because he was able to make the most negotiations with the Soviet Union in his time as president. So he actually helped create and build relationships. 2 years after he called for Gorbachev to tear down the wall, 2 years later the Berlin Wall came down. So it was very much like
because again, I was half asleep. I was like, wait,
I'm so glad I watched the documentary afterwards as well. If I had known this was the way the podcast is going.
I was just like, why is the Berlin Wall in this now? What does that have to do with Russia?
What does the Berlin Wall have to do with Russia?
I don't know what the Berlin Wall has to do with Russia.
I just feel so much better about the fact that I just didn't think I knew much. And I'm not saying that you should feel bad for not knowing much, but I just felt like I was the only one.
What does the Berlin Wall have to do with Russia?
Again, I apologise if this isn't completely 100% factually correct, but as I understand it, it split. You know where it was though, right? What country was it in?
Germany.
Yes,
yeah.
And it split East and West Germany.
I know that bit, but I thought the Germans decided to do it. Why are the Russians involved?
Well, they kind of did and they kind of didn't, because the Soviet Union installed left-wing governments in like certain the countries that they were taking over. So it wasn't like an invasion in terms of like what's happening now. It was more of a covert like installation of communist governments. So yes and no. They were like puppeted by the Soviet.
Right, okay. Because that was my thing. I was like, I understand the Berlin Wall. I know about the concept of the Berlin Wall, but I didn't realise the Russians were interfering. That's why I was like,
there you go.
Why have we got the Berlin Wall now?
I love how I'm talking about this as if I've known this my whole life and haven't just like caught up on it in the last day. Like I had pieces of the information, but I've never been able to explain it with confidence anyway.
What I will say, if you were listening to this and being like, well, how is Claire this stupid? I will tell you that the British education system, I spent 7 years of the 15 years I learned history learning about King Henry VIII and about the Romans. Never once was I taught any piece of history.
Geopolitics. Or anything like that.
Earliest
and I went to the same school, by the way, so I have the same excuse.
The earliest time period I was ever taught was the Victorian age. That was the closest.
Really?
Yeah,
I did stuff on World War II.
Did you do GCSE?
No.
Oh, see, that was only GCSE when I did it.
Oh, it was definitely year 9. I remember it being big because I had a breakdown about that project.
No, I never got to that. Anything I know about World War II, I know from English literature. I don't know. I've never been taught.
That's terrible.
It's awful. I don't know anything about.
Within 5 years? Within 5 years, they changed it so at least year 9 learned about it.
And well, it's because they used, I think, because it was part of the GCSE syllabus, so they used to keep it for GCSE. But then I wonder if they were like, actually, people would probably do better at GCSE if they had a basic understanding.
And people would probably choose to do it at GCSE, which they did. And I was just like, can't remember the dates. Not for me. Let's do geography.
Same.
So so any other? What's your next question?
What was the point of this movie?
It's for Republicans to be like, yay, Reagan!
Why do you think...
Actually, there was a more nefarious point, and it was just before the election.
Yeah. Why was Dennis Quaid in this? And why...
He really is a Republican.
But he's too old, and the de-aging...
He's too old. He was playing an 80-year-old. The problem is that he was also playing a 30-year-old.
That's what I mean. The de-aging was weird, and I didn't like it.
I don't even remember. I didn't even notice that they de-aged him in any way.
I felt like his skin looked glowier than it does in real life.
And they also kept him in like low light conditions.
Yeah.
All this Hollywood stuff was always at like a party at night.
Okay, I think I'm with you. Should we talk about the noms?
Sure.
Okay. I knew as I was watching this, I was like, I wonder how much of this I'll even remember tomorrow.
And what's your answer? Rough estimation percentage-wise?
I actually do think I remember most of what I physically paid attention to.
It's just that you couldn't piece it together because of how haphazard the editing was.
Haphazard editing and drunkenness, and then also dealing with the car issue that I told you about. I was getting lots of text messages about that. That was its own fun thing. So I'm going to go from the bottom up.
Okay.
Worst screen combo for Dennis Quaid and Penelope Ann Miller. She was playing his second wife, the most important wife, right?
Nancy Reagan.
Yes.
The most important wife. Yeah, she was the first lady.
Isn't she considered one of the most important wives in political history as well?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm like, I wasn't being completely wrong.
I'm sorry, I thought you meant of his two wives, which is also true.
Also true.
Yeah, it's just funny.
don't think they had chemistry. I also felt sorry for her because I felt like she was giving like Oscar level acting. She was like, this is my moment. Like the scenes towards the end where he's going out on the horse.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Also, definitely not him riding the horse. And I definitely feel like Dennis Quaid lied about his ability to ride a horse. Because if you watch him riding that horse, he looks so deeply uncomfortable and just looks like he's about to fall off or break a hip at any moment.
Pre-Reagan Alzheimer's, or?
No, Reagan when he has Alzheimer's. And there, I wasn't paying attention towards the start. But then, all of a sudden, it does a long shot or a wide shot and he gallops off and I was like, there's no fucking way that is Dennis Quaid. But yeah, I felt like she was like, this is my Oscar moment. And I was like, babes, you do not know what movie you're in. And I felt bad for her.
But I feel like,
I felt like she was, I didn't think she was bad.
Someone giving their all in whatever the assignment is,
Yeah, I felt like she really was like, this is my moment.
This is mine. No, I thought she was very good. I quite enjoyed her. But I don't know how close she was to Nancy Reagan because I've never paid attention to what her mannerisms were like. But I don't think that's the point, and I don't think it should be the point.
Yeah.
Because obviously then you're going into, caricature or impression.
Oh, she was married to Will Arnett.
Oh.
Only for a year. Interesting.
I can't say I know who she is.
But she's been in
loads.
Quite a few bits. Yeah, so, I mean, I guess good for her.
She was on Broadway.
But yeah, I didn't think they had much chemistry, but that's because I just felt like Dennis Quaid was kind of gross.
But is that because of Reagan?
I also think, having watched Dennis Quaid in The Substance...
Yeah, so Stephen came in when I was watching that, watching Reagan, and he looked at Dennis Quaid and went, just can't stop thinking about him eating
the shrimps. And that was it. And then because of the weird glowy de-aging or makeup or whatever, I was like, you look greasy. You look like you want to eat some shrimp.
Yeah. I don't know, like I kind of, from what I know about Reagan and like how he came across, like it didn't seem like his portrayal didn't seem like not in the same lane, if that makes sense. It fit by what I understood Reagan to be about in terms of how he like presented himself and stuff. I've seen a lot of people say it was a bit caricatured and like version on like impressionist, but at the same time, if you're playing a president and like I feel like it's really hard for anyone playing a very well-known person you can't completely make it your own because then everyone will be like, they're nothing like so-and-so person.
I felt like every day he was going to his trailer and like wanking off into the mirror being like, yeah, I'm Reagan. Yeah, I'm Reagan.
I didn't need to have that image in my head.
I just felt like he was so fucking so like, right. He was like, I'm fucking Reagan. Like just turned on all day being like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry for the slanderous. I feel like that was the vibe. Like he kind of walked on set and was just like, I'm fucking Reagan.
Yeah. Worst screenplay. What was, I cannot remember, but what was the line that I voice memoed you about? Something to do with the last meal or the food. Yeah. What the fuck was that line?
I can't remember what the line was, but it was about the fact that he brought him jelly beans after he'd been shot.
Yeah, and I was just like, this is one of the worst screenplays I've ever heard in my life.
I think it's because when you've got someone's whole life put into like less than 2 hours or 2.5 hours or whatever, there's these little things that make them the person, right? This is based on a book, which was about, it's called The Crusader, Ronald Reagan and the Fall of Communism. So the book was specifically about that versus his whole life. It obviously had bits in it about his life, but there'll be little things, right, where every president, every prime minister, everyone was known for their little quirks. Like, did you know Ronald Reagan used to keep a dish of jelly beans in the Oval Office? It would have been a fact like that. Yeah. And then they're like tying it into the screenplay and they're helping like build moments between characters. Did you know that when the chief of staff was first employed, Ronald Reagan judged him on what colour jelly bean he was? You know, all of those little like what are they called? Little
quirks.
quirks, but little just anecdotes that are then built into a screenplay that definitely, like, it's just a bit shoehorned in.
I felt like every time anyone opened their mouths, they were just vomiting the American flag. I literally said to my brother the other week that he was watching the rugby, and I thought the Irish rugby team was singing the Irish national anthem, but apparently they were singing some other song. But my brother was also singing along with them, and I was like, oh, and he was like, well, and I was like, I just find patriotism really embarrassing. He was like, what? And I was like, I find it really cringy and really embarrassing to be like, oh, I fucking love a country. Like, no, love people, love a place, love a community, but oh, I fucking love a flag and the name of a country.
Flag shaggers.
Yeah, flag shaggers. This movie is just flag shaggers all over.
Central.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The whole thing, like, and Stephen and I were talking about how politics, it seems to have changed, specifically in America in like the last 20 years or so. So the documentary said that Reagan seemed to have like veered politics into like this whole new world of conservatism after that. Even though in this film he didn't seem like conservative with a capital C. Then again, they did skip over the AIDS bit pretty quickly.
I missed that bit.
Oh, it's blink and you'll miss it. It's a montage where they were like, well, you know, Reagan wasn't without his, like, critics, and it's just, like, people protesting the war on drugs and people dying of AIDS, and then it's like, that, never mentioned again.
There were so many montages in this movie.
They had to try and squeeze his life into...
I love a montage.
I don't remember any of...
There was a montage of David Henry as well.
With the lifeguarding thing.
Yeah. I was just like, I find this an egregious use of montage.
And I can't say I noticed.
It upset me. I think that was just the editing that I was also drunk, so I was like, what are you doing?
Just throwing me around.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm drowning.
Yeah.
So we were just saying about how it seemed like, you know, in that half of the century, there was a joint belief with the parties that they were doing the right thing for the country and they were serving the country, they were doing it together, even if they disagreed. I don't know if that's true. But then all of a sudden it started to become more about the power of this ruling government, party in the government, and about how they do things and how they can change things versus them working together to serve the people of the country that they're in. And that was really interesting in that I think if we probably look back at the presence of this time, it did seem like they were vomiting the flag, but it at least felt a bit more earnest than perhaps the vomiting of flags more recently.
Yeah, the cap wearing.
Oh, God.
Okay. Worst supporting actress, Leslie Ann Down. Who was she?
Margaret Thatcher.
Oh, yeah, anytime she came on the screen, I was like, I think that's meant to be Margaret Thatcher. And then I blanked out.
Oh, I don't have any good things to say with anything related to Margaret Thatcher.
I didn't mind The Iron Lady starring Meryl Streep.
I haven't seen it.
It was fine.
Right.
It was, again, caricaturish.
Yeah.
And, I feel like at one point she turned up again and I was like, oh, Thatcher's back. And she was really...
Please, no. Send her back.
But she was really mad about something because she was like, you've made us all look like an idiot.
Yeah, there's a scene she's in when they first meet and they're talking about the way he's being a president and talking with the Soviet Union and stuff, and she's just like, I'm trying to work out whether I trust you. Like, I think he's basically just been into office. And then the second time was, what did you just say that she
seemed really mad about him for a decision that made her look stupid or made the rest of them look stupid
Yeah. So I don't know if it was that when there was the whole scandal about how he wanted to negotiate with terrorists, but then they said you can't, and then somehow the guns got to the terrorists anyway.
Yeah.
I think that just made all his allies look bad. But then back when he's doing his communism thing, there was a moment which he was just like, you go cowboy, after he says the Berlin Wall thing, I think. And I think people in the reviews were like, yikes. Can't imagine her saying that, but then again, like, can't imagine her being human, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I think as far as it goes, I think it was fine because I don't want to have to think about her more than I really am. So I don't know what people wanted or expected.
Yeah. Worst supporting actor, John Voight. I mean, for the accent alone, yeah.
What? I feel, is this a common thing that he keeps being told to do these accents for some reason?
I think he just thinks he can. Yeah, but he turns up every year, doesn't he?
Yes, because he's a bad man and he can't get work.
Yeah.
So he just shows up in all of these independent things.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I didn't care either way.
It just kept making me laugh because I was like,
oh, really?
What an accent. And also, I was really confused with the Russian things because I was like, does he like the Russians or does he hate the Russians?
Yeah, fair enough.
Worst actor for Dennis Quaid. Certain parts of this film, absolutely, I felt like he just had a shit-eating grin on his face.
But that's just Dennis Quaid. That's genuinely what he looks like.
And just, sir, why are you trying to pull off 30?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was probably in his contract that he wanted to just play Reagan.
I was like,
from naught to death.
I bet you.
But they were like, sir, you can't play an 8-year-old.
David Henry gets the audition, gets the role. He's like, I'm fucking playing Ronald Reagan. And they're like, in 2 scenes, sir, because we need you to run and carry a person, and no one can de-age Dennis Quaid enough for him to have the ability to lift another human being.
It'd be like in The Irishman when Al Pacino's kicking someone, and you can tell it's a 70-year-old man kicking someone.
Well, it's the same thing in Captain Marvel when Samuel L. Jackson does totally fun for the whole movie until there's a long shot of him running down a corridor, and you're like, that is a 70-year-old man running.
Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. All I'll say is I enjoyed it, like, watching him. I don't think it was a good performance, but it was an entertaining one.
It upset me. It made me feel uneasy. And worst picture, it's tough because I do think it was terribly edited and just a bad movie all around. But then also, what the fuck do you expect from these kind of movies?
And what I would say is I didn't realise that it was one of those movies because we've watched a bunch of those movies, classic independent, like Daily Wire produced. I've been cancelled, so I'm doing my own thing where I still am in the public eye in the same amount of exposure. They've been really bad, some of them, like in terms of the production level. So for this, considering it was quite a low budget, considering they got some names in there, and considering they did like a whole thing about a whole president and it didn't look too bad.
It gave Channel 5.
Or a lot of people said that it gave TV movie.
Yeah,
but I think for me it was mainly just in the scope of the. Do you know what though? I didn't think that. It didn't occur to me. That didn't come to my brain. There was one bit of CGI when they were looking at their daughter who just died's grave, and that looked fake as fuck. But
I think for me it was like the quick pacedness of the many different scenes, and they were all kind of just classic, almost like soap opera 2 shots.
Yeah, I do get you.
It was like, absolutely, if you told me that this came from like Christian Bible TV, I'd be like, yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
I can tell you that it came from Showbiz Direct.
Ah, there we go. It has been nominated for one other award, the Movie Guide Awards for the Faith and Freedom Award.
There you go. Did we talk about the screenplay?
Yeah, I said it was awful because of the jelly bean.
Oh yeah.
And then also, like, where they're like, Alzheimer's, and then they like do some ridiculous like voiceover about him having Alzheimer's, and then he does read the letter.
No, the voiceover was his article that he wrote.
No, that bit was good. There was a bit before that. I don't know if it's maybe what the wife was saying. There was some sort of really awful. I think it was a conversation between the wife and the guy from 90210, and
the horse riding guy.
Yeah.
But she's like, I can't tell him.
He was Teddy in 90210. And yeah, it was his conversation where he was like, I am not telling the president. And it was all of this nonsense. But then, obviously, the voiceover, which was
just easily pleased, because I didn't see a problem with that.
The voiceover with the actual, like, his words, his letter explaining, I was like, that is nice, and I can understand that. But yeah, there was just some all-time clangery dialogue in this.
I think it's because I'm entertained by it that I don't notice.
And then all of the Russian stuff, the Russian narrative voiceover-y stuff. I was like, why are we doing this?
Listen, I just don't have taste and it's fine.
I was just like, this film doesn't need this storytelling device. It's completely superfluous.
Yeah, I don't think it needed that, to be honest, because I think that it didn't use it in the right way.
It kept forgetting about it. And then you'd get Jon Voight's weird little Russian accent telling you something, and I was like, it felt like a storybook.
It felt like someone was reading, felt like, oh, my granddad's Reagan, but he's dead, tell me about his life.
Yeah.
I'll tell you how he defeated the commies.
It was Reagan fan fiction.
Yeah. And I enjoyed it.
I did not.
That's fair. What I will say is that the whole time I was watching it, I was just like, I am in boomer mode. I'm like here and I'm like, tell me about how great this Republican is and what he did, and then I'm going to watch a documentary afterwards and see how much of it's true. Which, to be fair, I think most of what he did with the communists, and also so here's the thing. The Reaganomics, however, which they mentioned, where he was just like, how about we just don't tax people? Wouldn't that be great? That caused the US to be one of the most income unequal nations of the developed nations in the world. So whilst the richer got richer, the poorer got poorer. The homelessness went up skyrocketing. And then obviously he didn't handle AIDS very well. So it's like they scooted over those bits, which obviously you'd expect, though, is my point. Yeah. It's like, I'm trying to see this as what it is, in that if you're going in and watching this film, I've got one foot in one camp and one foot in the other of saying I'm coming at it from where I'm sitting, but I also thinking about what the purpose of this film is as well.
Oh, no, and I would say, I mentioned The Iron Lady earlier. That was sort of a little bit similar, but less, because it was, slightly higher caliber film. But it, didn't shy away from the controversial things that Thatcher did.
Right, but it definitely shied away.
But it definitely tried to be but she did them because she was trying.
Right.
It's you might not
that's
agree.
Kind of worse.
It's you might not agree with it. She was conflicted too.
Yeah, it's that's actually very similar to this, in that they were Reagan did have his critics, and then they just showed the protests of people protesting the war on drugs and AIDS, and then that was the only thing. So it's they're well, we've mentioned it, so...
One thing I didn't mention, because we were talking about Jon Voight, this is actually a split nomination. He is nominated for Worst Supporting Actor in this, alongside his roles in Megalopolis, Shadowland and Strangers. We're definitely going to talk about Megalopolis. I don't know if we'll have time or energy to talk about Shadowland and Strangers, because
watch them.
That's what I mean. It is literally the only... We'd only be watching it for him. They're the only things that it's nominated for. But we will talk about him in my beloved Megalopolis. But just to note that Jon Voight, just bad year, as always. The Razzies love to hate him.
Yeah, and I don't know how much of it is also just because they hate him.
Yeah.
Because they have a right to.
You, I think, liked this. You learnt a lot from this.
I think that's the thing. If I already knew everything, I think I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it as much, because I don't think it would have been a very good film. But what it did was open the door for me to go, hey, I'm really interested in learning about this, and that's why I enjoyed it. So it's really hard to say,
Yeah.
But then isn't that... You're here we go. And I'm isn't that the point of the movies, is to open up your mind to things? So that's why I think I came into it with a...
I think that should... I don't think that was the point of this, but I think that should...
No, it's not.
I think that should be the point of most good art, and especially stuff that's, inspired by true life. You are a very media literate person, you're also an intelligent person, and you're a curious person. So you came into this with all of the right things, because it's then inspired you to do the work. What I think this is meant to be is a pacifier of, here you go, Reagan great, right wing great, have a little suck on this and enjoy life.
Agreed.
Yeah. You were of a curious disposition and you did the work.
Yeah, so you've helped me separate what is it I enjoyed the exercise. I didn't enjoy the film, but it did entertain me a little bit.
Yeah. Well,
there you go. No more to say. Do you want a jelly bean?
No, I actually really fucking hate jelly beans. What did we say? I said if I'd have had an assassination attempt that I'd probably want to be woken up to white bread, and you said a cup of tea.
Yes, and you said, what did you respond with, which I thought was a perfect encapsulation of those answers. You said, basic but pure.
Yeah.
And if that ain't us, I don't know what is.
Unlike this movie.